the voice of health, freedom, and liberty, Robert Scott Bell.
Now, I called Governor Romney a short while ago before he gave his talk and congratulate him because he certainly had a clear-cut victory, but we're nibbling at his heels. But there was another victory tonight. He had a victory, but we have had a victory for the cause of liberty tonight.
Big victory last night. That's right. That was Ron Paul coming out of New Hampshire. Strong, solid second place, and they can't take him seriously enough now. I know. They're biting their lips. But no, this is an acknowledgement and an incredible thing that has happened last night. 23% coming out 20-plus out of Iowa. The electability issue, it's starting to dissipate, although they haven't given up on it altogether. So we're going to cover that as we start today's Robert Scott Bell Show with some political healing. Super Don, good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning. 23%.
Not bad.
23%. Well, it's better. It's better than not bad.
It's sensational,
really
actually.
When you consider that, I think the final results was Mitt had 39, Ron 23. Closest one to him was John Huntsman, who as far as I'm concerned, is not going to make it much farther in the campaign. He came in with 16%. So strong second place. How long ago was it that they were saying that Ron Paul had hit his ceiling, that he wasn't going to get more than 9%, right?
Yeah.
He's proven them all wrong.
The control of the populace, the control of the electorate by trying to convince you of something that they want to be true. And here is more evidence of the unwillingness to go along, to play. You're not playing along. You're supposed to listen to the mainstream media and do what we say. And here is evidence that they are losing their grip. If people, and listen, I've got a lot of dear friends that love Ron Paul that still say, oh, but he can't win. I still hear it. You know that, Donna, and you probably do
too. He's not electable.
He's not electable,
why
right?
Throw your vote away. If you vote for Ron Paul, you're going to elect Obama, right?
Yeah, but that's still the old, let's say, tapes, the programs that are put into the heads of even smart and good people that still cannot see visually how we can accomplish the restoration of liberty. It's just too much. They've got too much power. They've got too much. No, what we're doing is waking the people up to recognize that the power, just like I say every day, to heal is theirs. The power to transform their world, your world, is yours. You have the option to pull the plug on the big government loonies on the left and the right here in this election cycle and transform it despite the naysayers, despite the programming, etc. This is major, major news.
Ron Paul's all over the media now. They cannot ignore this guy. And he was on CBS this morning, today, and they actually approached the idea, the concept of being electable. And I thought Ron Paul actually came out with a very good point.
It's amazing that I do so much better than those other candidates that are all electable. They're all in 4th, 5th, and 6th place, but they're all electable. But I come in 2nd or 3rd, and all of a sudden people say, oh, he's not electable. I don't know how that adds up.
That's right. Governor Rick Perry, last place, but he's much more electable than Ron Paul in 2nd.
Hey, it's just a fluke. It's just a fluke.
Rick Santorum, 5th place. Oh, but he's much more electable than the 2nd place finisher. This is where they're straining credulity. Can I say that? Straining credulity to such a point.
Spell that?
Because they're making lies and they're trying, we got to mold it in. We got to hold it together a little bit more. We need big media. Remember the guys in the Pentagon saying, see this room? 2/3 of us out of a job if Ron Paul gets elected.
The open mic, yeah.
Remember that.
Right. Yeah, that was classic.
What about the coalescence? We've got big words today on the Robert Scott Bell Show. What about coalescing around a candidate that can actually win, that could actually reduce the size of government? This is Ron Paul on CBS this morning.
Congressman Paul, you know what they're saying, that as conservatives continue to fail to coalesce, they are simply making it easier for Governor Romney to get the nomination.
Yeah, but what if you coalesce with big spending and you elect somebody like that and you do the big spending? This is what we've done. When we've had the House and the Senate and the presidency, we coalesced and we increased the debt, and we increased the spending. We doubled the size of the Department of Education. We passed No Child Left Behind. We passed Sarbanes-Oxley. Why should we coalesce behind conservatives who aren't conservatives? They're just big government conservatives. That's why there's frustration out there, and that's why people have started the Tea Party movement. So I don't know why people don't understand this.
Yeah, if we want some sharks...
What a concept. So in other words, why should we get behind big government spenders and people that want just to continue the status quo and what got us into this problem that we're in today? Kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, if you want some sharks with frickin' lasers, Ron Paul's your laser beam, man. He was just on point, focused so well. And if we look at what's happening now, again, it's the crumbling of the old media, the old guard, the old ways. This is part of 2012. This is what we're talking about. The end of the Mayan calendar. It's Ron Paul for president. Listen, this is very exciting. Can you tell I'm jacked up here? This is an amazing thing that is occurring because we are witnessing a transformation that is accelerating, absolutely accelerating. And if we talk about the so-called big government conservatives, look at Romney. They are still trying now to anoint him as the inevitable electable candidate. Yet who has given more money to Romney than anyone else? And the hint here is it's the same group that has given more money to Obama than anyone else.
Alex, who is Goldman Sachs?
Ding, 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 ding. You got it. Listen, if you think Romney's electable, you bring up the fact that he was for the single-payer mandate, forced government insurance. You bring up the fact that he was for the TARP bailout, and you've got Obama running against Obama in Romney, and people are going, oh, no, that's a little exaggeration. Well, listen, Goldman Sachs has bought both of these boys. What are you going to do? Support the same failed status quo?
And then they ask Ron Paul, the most consistently principled guy in government today, why won't you get behind Mitt Romney? I mean, come on. They just don't get it.
The information is so good, it requires no expiration date. The Robert Scott Bell Show.
You know, I have one simple request, and that is to have sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads.
Well, you got it. It's Ron Paul. He is happening. He's laser focused now. It is an exciting time. The race has gotten much more interesting for the Republican nomination for president and, of course, to restore liberty to America for those who love liberty. And yes, the laser focus. And how are they going to stop him? How will they try to slow Ron Paul down? Or maybe they'll just say, well, this is all about influence. He doesn't really want to win. He's not running. He doesn't want to be president. And, of course, in that context, they're going to say, well, maybe Romney can buy him off with a really good speaking slot at the convention. Oh, well, no, we know that's not going to work. How about, he's not going to run third party because he doesn't want to ruin it for Rand Paul. No, he's not going to run third party because he doesn't want to run third party. Look, they're going to try everything they can. The other thing that they're going to say is, we have to beat Obama. This is even the Republican establishment. They're going to say, no matter what, we've just got to beat Obama. That's all there is to it. But the American electorate not falling for it in the same way. Last night, Super Don, I was watching some of the news shows on this, and the first guy they go to on CNN says, I've already decided I'm voting for Ron Paul, and if it's not him, well, I'll go elsewhere, even Obama, but I'm not going anywhere else. And they were like, okay, what about, they played Romney's speech, and they said, so what do you think? Does this change your mind? And the woman that they asked said, well, he was saying some good stuff, but I don't know if I believe him. It's like, whoa, it's not playing the same way. The electorate is getting a little more savvy here, but they're going to say, well, it has to be an electability issue. And we come back to the clip we played. Okay, yes, Rick Santorum, he's electable. He's our man. Wait, fifth place? Maybe not. Gingrich, right. Is he? They're playing. They're losing it, and they're going to lose their minds. They're going to become increasingly desperate because the racism thing didn't work with the newsletters. And in the last debate, Ron Paul busted it out and hit a grand slam on the issue of the drug war and the judicial branch racism against minorities, regarding the inequitability about putting all the minorities behind bars because they want to smoke a little bit of a plant that God created.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you still every once in a while see somebody trying to throw the racism thing in there, and it's just, he's not a racist. there's so much proof to the fact that debunks that notion, that accusation. So it just doesn't work, and they don't know what else to use to get this guy. Maybe they need sharks with laser beams. That might be the thing that they might try next. Mm-hmm. But I think at this point moving forward, they're still going to try and get him, to say something that he shouldn't say, to stumble and catch him with some kind of a gotcha question. To do something,
Sure.
the way that the media does. That's what they do.
They tried it pretty quickly this morning on MSNBC. I think that's Morning Joe, although Joe seems to like him, and we'll get to a question about Congress in a moment. But Mark Halperin tried to start the gotcha.
Now Halperin, he's the senior political analyst for Time, and he's on MSNBC all the time. I don't know if you remember, this guy was the guy that got in trouble back in June of last year because he referred to Barack Obama as kind of a Richard.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, Halperin, don't worry about him. He's not electable.
He got suspended for saying that. But anyway, so Mark Halperin, senior political analyst for Time, he's talking to Ron Paul. This is the day after the big victory, and he tries to get him with a gotcha question.
Mark Halperin. Dr. Paul, congratulations on your showing here. I want to ask you about the Liberty Agenda and Head Start. Is that a program you think is constitutional, and would you support it, continuing it, if you were elected president?
No, it's not constitutional, but I wouldn't put that on lists. If we want a perfectly free society, you can't wave a wand and get everything you want. So you have to work our way out of this. Social Security and these other programs are unconstitutional, but I believe I'm the only one that has a program that would protect it so that we can work our way out of it and hopefully, take care of these programs. But Head Start, some conservatives would say, let's cut Head Start and say we're cutting something. No, we have to cut the big things, cut 5 departments, cut some of this occupation overseas and these senseless wars, and then try to work our way out and take care of people who become so dependent. The Federal Reserve is unconstitutional, but my position isn't to close it down in one day. My position is to give it competition and expose it for what it is and audit the Fed and work out a better monetary system.
Okay, so Halperin asks him the question. It sounds to me like Ron Paul answered the question, right, Robert?
It seems to me that he answered
Will you cut Head Start?
Pretty well.
Is it constitutional? No, it's not constitutional, but that's not on my list of things to even focus on right now. Is that good enough for Mark Halperin? No. He tried to get him with the gotcha question. He's got to have a story, right?
Yeah.
He's got to try and catch Ron Paul in saying something that he can write about and get some traction on. So he doesn't leave it there. He continues on, tries a second time to get Ron Paul on the question.
But if you had your way, you'd eliminate Head Start.
Well, you're just putting words in my mouth. I don't know what your goal is. I just explained myself very clearly. Technically, it's unconstitutionally. Ultimately, if we want to be strict constitutionalists and we have support of the people and we want to move in that direction and prove that a Head Start program could be privatized or localized, yes, that's the case. But to make everything I'm saying that, Ron Paul's out to stop Head Start, you're missing my whole point. I mean, it's a total distraction on what you're talking about.
Laser beams. Laser beams.
Oh, I love it. I mean, he just completely, deconstructed what it was that was so obvious that Halperin was trying to do. And it's so ridiculous. This is the same type of thing that we saw with Gloria Borger on CNN. Oh, Ron Paul, he stormed off from the interview, and look, we got the story because we got the walk-off.
Right.
When in reality, there was no walk-off. They try and create the story. And this tactic that they have, it would be like saying to Ron Paul, now, Ron Paul, would you support continuing to subsidize the agency of government that protects the clubbing of defenseless baby seals? Well, okay, look, we don't need an agency to protect the baby seals from being clubbed. And so, that's something that should be eliminated. Oh, well, see, Ron Paul liked clubbing baby seals. No.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.